Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to cut and also how to sew this beautiful short Bubu dress. The inspiration is the one at the right hand side on the screen, while the one I made is the one I'm folding right now. So without wasting much of our time, let's just get started into the video. Welcome back guys. So these are the fabric that I'll be using. This is the Ankara and it is 2 yards. It is 2 yards depending on your size actually, so you can use more or you can use less, and that is the black material I'll be using. So now let's cut. So I folded my fabric into 4, that is I'll be cutting both the back and the front piece together. Then I measured ½ inch over there, just ½ inch down. Then after the ½ inch I will measure the length of my gown. So I'll be using 39 for my gown, but you can use whatever length you want to use depending on your preference or your client's preference. Then I added 2 inches for the hemming allowance at the lower part. Then I'll be rolling it out. I'll be rolling it out right now. So after rolling it out over there, you will move over to the upper part. You measure 1½ inches at the end of the folding, which will serve as our shoulder slope. So now I'll measure 3 inches over there at the neckline, just 3 inches, so that I can know where the shoulder slope will start from, and I'll just connect it down like that. So after that I'll be measuring my sleeve opening. So you have to use SS in case, so that the mouth can be wide enough. So your initial measurement, you just add some SS to it so that it can be wide enough. So then you locate your bust point, your waist and your hip area. That is your bust length, your waist and your hip length. Just locate it. So at the bust area, you measure your bust, your initial bust, without adding any additional inches. Then you add another 3 inches, which will serve as the SS, and 1 inch which will serve as this joining allowance. So that's 4 inches. So over at your hip area too, you measure your hip, then you add the 4 inches, that is 3 inches for the freeness of the Bubu and 1 inch for the joining allowance. Then you will connect the line. But before I connect the line, I noticed my hip was too kind of small, because I don't want it to have one shape. I don't want it to have too much shape. I want it to be something kind of straight. So I added like 1 inch to it again. So at the armhole area, I noticed the line was too curvy, so I went in again. I'm drawing the line again so that it can be okay. So that's the line I'm drawing again. As you can see, the first line I drew was kind of somehow, so I'm just drawing another line at that area. So I measured whatsoever I have at my hip to know what I have at my bust too, so that I can know if the line is too deep or not. So now whatever I have at my hip area, I'll just go ahead and add ½ inch or 1 inch. You can add ½ inch or 1 inch to it. Whatever you have at your hip area, let's say you have 14 inches at your hip area, just go ahead and mark 14½ or 15 at the lower part. So now we are done with the measuring. The next thing to do is to cut what we've measured. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please kindly subscribe, like, comment and share this video with people that need it. So now I noticed my opening over there was not equal, so I'm just rolling it out to trim it out. Yes, so this is what I have. Now I'll be cutting something like a band I'll be using for the sleeve. You just measure the sleeve opening over there, so that is what you will use to cut this band. You can use any length. I'm just using the remaining fabric I have to cut it, depending on how long you want your length to be. So that's what will determine your folding and also this band you want to add. So I'm just trying to trim out what I have so that it can be straight. Then I will cut two. You know, it will be folded like that when I want to join it. So I'll cut for the other one too. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to draw my neckline for the body. So I'll be drawing the neckline for the back on both the front and the back piece. So I measure 2 3/4 by 1.5 inches, by 2 inches rather. 2 3/4 like that, and 2 inches down there. So I just connect it like this. Then I'll be cutting it out. Then after cutting it out, I'll remove the back from the front so that I can do the neckline of the front. So I'll just measure 7 inches here. Then I'll connect my V neckline from the tip of the first neckline. So I'll connect it like that. So after connecting it, the next thing to do is just to cut it out. Then after cutting it out, this is what it looks like. So the next thing I'll do is to cut the black neckline design. So I went ahead to cut this design. I'll tell you the measurement shortly. So this is 2.5 after folding. So I add half inch for the folding, and that part over there is 3 inches. That's 3 inches and half inch. You know, when you are cutting this, it will be folded, so you just divide the measurement into 2 while you are cutting it. So now this is the neck piece, and I'll be joining it to the front. So this is what it looks like after joining it to the front. Then the next thing to do is to sew it on it, and to sew it on it, we have to pin so that the neckline does not shift or you don't sew it at the wrong place. So you just have to pin every area that is likely to move. And when you are placing this, make sure it is at the center. Just make sure it's at the center, because it won't be nice if it is just slant kind of. So just make sure you are placing it at the center. Then you pin it downward. You pin as much as possible. Just pinning randomly just to hold it down. Then after pinning, just go ahead and sew very close to the tip of the folding. You know, we folded it in already. So after sewing, this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like. So I'm just trying to cut out the excess I have over there. So now that's the back piece. I use a bias tape to just turn that out. So I'll be joining the shoulder now. After joining the shoulder, I'll be adding this band. I've folded it in. I'll just be adding it to the sleeve opening. So this is what I have. So now I'm cutting the excess band, the excess part of the band over there. I'm just trying to cut it out because the one I cut was too much for the opening, so the remaining one, that's what I'm cutting out. So just cut it out like that if you have any excess. Then the next thing to do now is just to sew by the side. And you know, we added 1 inch. Then after sewing at the side, you will hem it with whatever measurements you added. And for this video, I added 2 inches, so I'll use 2 inches to hem it down there. And I've went ahead to iron it. So this is what it looks like after ironing. And I'm just going ahead to fold what I have. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, for commenting, for subscribing. Thank you so much, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.